The candidate's performance and demeanor tonight notwithstanding, there is the crucial question of the truth of what was actually said on stage. And our fact checker, Daniel Dale, joins us now. So, Daniel, what stands out to you?
What stood out was the staggering number of false claims from former President Trump. On first count, Aaron, I counted at least 30 false claims.
That's right, according to CNN, an hour and 15 minutes after their event, Donald Trump had lied at least 30 times. We'll get to some of those falsehoods momentarily. But first, we should note that CNN also reported that President Biden lied 9 times. And let's see what some of those lies were. Watch.
He said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments about scientists studying disinfectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he'd supported, never endorsed him himself. In fairness, the president did appear to clarify that one.
CNN's bias is so clear when you look at what they are identifying as President Biden's lies, because Donald Trump has repeatedly suggested that he would cut Social Security. And it's absolutely true that many billionaires pay much less than an 8.5% tax rate. Anyway, let's move on to Donald Trump's avalanche of lies. In fact, Donald Trump lied so many times that we don't have the time to list them all, but this clip will give you an idea of how blatantly and absurd the Donald Trump lies were. Watch.
He said some Democratic states allow people to execute babies after birth, an egregious lie that is illegal in every state. He said everybody, even Democrats, wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. Roe was supported by 2/3 of Americans, even more Democrats. He said every legal scholar wanted Roe overturned, abortion returned to the states. Legal scholars have told me directly this is not true. He said the U.S. currently has the biggest budget deficit ever. No, that happened under Trump in 2020. He said the U.S. currently has a record trade deficit with China. That also happened under Trump in 2018. He said Biden personally gets a lot of money from China. Zero evidence of this. He said there were no terror attacks during his presidency. In fact, there were multiple attacks. He said Iran didn't fund Hamas, Hezbollah, other terror groups under his presidency. Iran, in fact, did. He said Biden wants to quadruple people's taxes. That is pure fiction. He said the U.S. has provided way more aid to Ukraine than Europe had. It's actually the opposite. He said the U.S. has provided about $200 billion in Ukraine aid. It's closer to $110 billion. He said 18 or 19 million people have crossed the border under Biden. That is millions too high. He said many of these migrants are from prisons or mental institutions. His own campaign cannot corroborate this. He said Biden has only created jobs for illegal immigrants. Total nonsense. He said Nancy Pelosi turned down his offer of 10,000 National Guard troops on January 6th. There's no evidence she even got such an offer.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
And you know what's so amazing is that Dana Bash and Jake Tapper knew this stuff off of the top of their head, and yet they said nothing during this event. While CNN's getting a lot of flack from a lot of people for not even trying to push back on Donald Trump's whoppers. Washington Post columnist Karen Attia wrote today, whatever the agreement to not push back or fact check in real time, this is disturbing to me. This is how democracy and norms get eroded. Fact checking and preparedness are part of the safeguards to keep people in power accountable. This nation is in trouble. And I want to be clear, I worked at CNN for 5 years. I know Jake Tapper and Dana Bash and David Chelling, their political director. I like them personally, but their legacy is now permanently stained by this. If CNN cannot even attempt to say, wait a second, Donald Trump, how can you say X, Y, and Z? Where's your proof? If they can't even signal to the audience that Donald Trump has just delivered a whopper, even if it's difficult to do, or even if it turns it on themselves, if you don't stand for truth as a news organization, why do you exist, CNN? Why do you exist if you can't push back at all? And if this nation, because of Donald Trump turns to fascism, if Donald Trump wins and this nation goes to fascism, that will be part of CNN's legacy. Two things can be true. Joe Biden had a disaster debate. It was terrible. But this was also a terrible night for journalism because there was no journalism during this event. It was not a debate. It was a carnival barking contest in which CNN had robots who I like personally, but professionally, they threw their reputation down the toilet by not challenging anything. That was a disaster. Our nation is indeed in very serious trouble. Cenk.
So when it comes to Biden's so-called lies, there were some in there. Like, so when he said no service member died on his watch, that's a weird lie. Afghanistan, let alone several other instances, right? But the rest of it wasn't really lies, and it doesn't do him any favors to tell you the truth about it. But the reality is that he keeps forgetting things. So he forgot that the insulin price was $35 and he said $15 twice. But once he corrected it to $35, David's right that there are metrics by which billionaires only do pay about 8.2% of their income or wealth, depending on how you look at it. So I think CNN, as you saw my live coverage, you've seen what I've said today. I thought Biden was an epic disaster. Definitely the worst debate I have ever seen. Definitely at the presidential level, maybe at any level. So it's not like I'm pulling my punches on Biden, but his issue isn't the lying, at least in this debate. He's told some whoppers in the past, like how his uncle was eaten by cannibals. Okay, so no one is shielding Biden here, but lying was not part of the problem last night for Joe Biden. Donald Trump, on the other hand, guys, this is why I can't. All show long I've been yelling at Blue MAGA who thinks Biden nailed it, right? To be fair to them, not nailed it, but they think he should still be the candidate even though he's clearly going to lose. Now Red MAGA, come on guys, you really believe that Norway and Paraguay decided to, let's get our mental asylum guys and the prisoners, let's just fly them to the Mexican-US border and then release them? Come on. Just think for 1 second. That you think that Biden quadrupled your taxes? Have you paid your taxes? Did you see if it was quadrupled or not? You think that there's such a thing as a post-birth abortion? So if a 28-year-old was killed, would that be a post-birth abortion? Okay, I mean, he says such maniacal things. How could you possibly believe it? So we're stuck in these just total alternate reality bubbles that make no sense at all. I mean, and one last one. All of the jobs that Biden created went to illegal immigrants. All of them? All of them. So this is what we're stuck with, a guy who can't finish a sentence and a guy who cannot say a sentence without lying. And not lying a little, like preposterous, Dr. Evil lies. Farron.
You know, it really is funny that CNN, Jake Tapper and Bash there, when Trump said that there are these democratic states that have these post-birth abortions, which is murder, they didn't even have to necessarily say, wait a minute, that's a lie. They could have even had fun with it. They could have said, real quick, which states, which governors? Go ahead, we want the list right now. Everybody's watching. Make them look stupid. Like, that's what I would prefer even more than just a basic fact check of saying, wait a minute, that's not right. Make these people look as stupid as they think the American public is. That's what we need. If we're not gonna have real journalism, then let's have real fun with it. Let's make them feel stupid when they try to treat us like we're stupid. That's what I would like at this point, because obviously we're not gonna get real journalism anymore. We're not gonna get anybody that stands up to the powers that be during these debates. They know these are probably the two most powerful men in the country, if not on the entire planet. So they don't wanna push the buttons. They don't want Donald Trump to go out there tomorrow and say something horrible about them on Truth Social. So they sit there, mouth shut, letting all of this happen. And it was a disgusting day, not just for Biden, but for journalism itself here in the United States.
Yeah, I'm gonna add one last thing to what Farron said, because last night I made such a similar point. I said Biden should have said when Trump said, they're releasing all their mental asylum inmates. Which countries? Which countries are releasing their prisoners and their inmates into America? Because then he'd be forced to make up countries. Then you'd have to go to those countries and ask them, hey, have you guys actually released all the inmates from your mental asylums? And how did you get them to the border? Did you drive them? Did you get a bus? So at one point, Trump claimed that there was no one crossing the border when he was president. I remember Fox News losing their minds over the caravans when Trump was president. Like, do you guys care about reality at all? Okay, last thing is about the anchors. So Biden is the one who's supposed to counter his opponent, and he's supposed to make these points in a debate. But David and Farron are right. The journalists still have a responsibility, not to the candidates, but to their audience. So Biden is, incapacitated. He can't speak, he can't think, he can't do anything. So now you see one guy is melted and the other guy is lying to millions and millions of people nonstop. You have some sort of responsibility to your audience to say, hey guys, sorry, but I've got to just let you know your taxes didn't quadruple. Like bare minimum. We said that there was an incredibly low bar for Biden and he couldn't clear it. And there was a pretty low bar for the anchors because the opponent is supposed to challenge the guy, but they couldn't clear that low bar either. And most importantly, you know why? Because Trump and his goons yelled at him for about a month straight. Oh yeah, they're gonna do these unfair fact checks. Oh yeah, they hate Trump. They're gonna counter Trump. Oh, they better not say anything. They better not say anything. And what happened? CNN got scared. Well, it's not exactly a profile in courage to say we're gonna lay down, we're not gonna do our jobs because Trump yelled at us. That's really sad.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.